Most men wander through life in a daze, chasing affection, recognition, and fulfillment from women, only to find themselves broken, drained, or trapped in cycles they can't escape. But nearly 2 centuries ago, Arthur Schopenhauer pulled back the curtain on the brutal realities of female nature. Realities so raw, most men today still deny them. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly where the illusion began, and how to reclaim your power. So listen closely. What you're about to hear isn't just bold. It's the truth most men never dare to face. Schopenhauer had no patience for romantic delusions. He viewed love not as some sacred bond or soul connection, but as nature's calculated manipulation. A biological bait and switch meant to drive one goal: reproduction. That spark you feel, the obsession, the unshakable belief that she's the one, it's not your heart talking, it's your brain running the numbers, subconsciously evaluating fertility, genetics, and survival odds. And women do the exact same thing. The filters are different, but the mechanism is identical. Schopenhauer once wrote, "Love is the ultimate motive behind almost every human effort. It matters more than anything else in life." But he didn't write that with admiration. He meant it as a warning. Love is a temporary chemical trap, designed to fade the moment it fulfills its reproductive purpose. Think about it. How many men have torn themselves apart for a woman who left them without hesitation? How many marriages fall apart the minute the fire dies? That's not coincidence. It's biological programming. Women don't select partners based on decency, consistency, or rational thought. Their instincts follow a primal algorithm tuned to power, security, and superior genes. A man's loyalty means nothing if he can't deliver those. Schopenhauer understood this with startling clarity. He observed that women are not guided by logic, but by impulse and emotion. That's not an insult, it's a reflection of observable patterns. Look around. Dating apps show 80% of women competing for a small percentage of top-tier men. Court systems punish commitment with financial penalties. History is littered with rulers who died for women who ultimately betrayed them. The pattern is constant because the biology hasn't changed. Most men still believe love is mutual, that by being selfless, attentive, and proving their worth, they'll be loved back. But Schopenhauer warned, being loved is not about being fair, it's about being strategic. Women don't fall for kindness, they fall for dominance, in all its forms: physical, social, financial, psychological. This is why the nice guy finishes last. Not because he's lacking, but because he's misplaying the game. He believes love is a prize earned through devotion. But attraction doesn't reward servitude. It's triggered by the absence of need. You've likely seen it happen. A woman loses interest the moment she secures the relationship. The dynamic flips. Schopenhauer called this the tragedy of possession. The thrill isn't in keeping something, it's in conquering it. And once conquest is complete, nature turns the page. That's why the men who idolize their partner, who revolve their life around her, often watch her drift away. And here's the twist. It's not about blame. It's about biology. The man who realizes this stops complaining. He starts adapting. Schopenhauer's insight wasn't born from bitterness. It came from clarity. Love, he argued, isn't a dream. It's a transaction. And when you enter a negotiation from a place of weakness, you always lose. And yet this is just the first revelation. What comes next is even darker. It reveals how modern men are consistently being outmaneuvered, and how to turn the tables. Because this next layer is where most men finally confront the lifelong lie they've been living. Schopenhauer understood something that remains taboo even now. Attraction is inherently unequal. It's not fair, it's not rational, and it certainly doesn't favor you. While today's culture chants equality, human mating behavior follows ancient laws, and the man who ignores that truth has already forfeited. Here's the harsh truth. Women hold the upper hand in modern relationships, not because they're cruel or manipulative, but because evolution made them the selectors. From the moment puberty begins, a woman's sexual value hits its peak. For men, that value has to be earned, through hardship, status, and competence. Schopenhauer didn't sugarcoat it. He stated that women are best suited for nurturing and teaching the young because they themselves are emotionally immature, superficial, and short-sighted. That wasn't meant to insult. It was an evolutionary analysis. A woman's youth and appearance are her assets, and she's instinctively aware of how and when to leverage them. The modern man is caught in a twisted contradiction. He's told to be soft and open, while women still chase dominance. He's mocked for embracing traditional masculinity, yet the assertive alpha males continue to rule the dating scene. He sacrifices sleep, peace, and freedom trying to be the provider, only to be rewarded with court summons and DNA tests. Schopenhauer saw it all coming long before the digital age. In his eyes, women were perpetual adolescents. But the danger now is that modern women have not only embraced their evolutionary advantage, they've weaponized it. Social media has transformed attention into a global economy, and men have become the unpaid workforce. He chases, he praises, he competes, just to earn a glance or a like from women who will never choose him. Why? Because he bought the lie that loyalty and love are the same thing. Schopenhauer recognized the trap before Tinder or OnlyFans existed. He believed women are conditioned to be incapable of deep, unconditional love. Their affection, he argued, is inherently transactional. A man isn't valued for who he is, but for what he brings. The moment he stops delivering, the affection vanishes. It may sound harsh, but it's survival instinct. Women are biologically wired to seek the highest value mate. If a man stops progressing, she grows cold. If he falters, she finds a replacement, and modern culture applauds her for it. Schopenhauer saw men in two groups, those who serve and those who are served. The beta male burns himself out trying to prove his value. The alpha? He doesn't ask for respect, he commands it. One pleads for devotion, the other becomes an obsession. You see it everywhere. The corporate worker killing himself for a promotion, hoping it'll reignite his wife's admiration. The gym fanatic reshaping his body, only to be used for sex, not loved for who he is. The guy who spends his paycheck on a girl who disappears the second a more powerful man enters the room. These men aren't victims, they're volunteers. But Schopenhauer didn't stop at exposing the disease. He handed us the cure. Step 1? Face reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. The man who wins today isn't the one clinging to fairy tales about romance. It's the one who understands how the system actually works. And here's the truth that stings. The game is stacked, but only if you keep playing by rules that don't serve you. Most men never catch on, because the hardest truth to face is this. It's never been about women. It's always been about you. Schopenhauer uncovered a truth that modern psychology now echoes. Women don't compete like men. They don't confront directly. They don't display power openly. Their strongest tool? Emotional leverage. Where men clash with logic or force, women manipulate perspective. They don't overpower you. They reframe the world around you. When a man wants something, he declares it. When a woman wants something, she makes you believe it was your own decision. Schopenhauer saw this with clarity. Women, he said, are built for domestic life and childcare, driven by their connection to the present moment. But that focus on the now gives them a sharp edge. They pick up on micro-reactions, emotional tones, and social cues with uncanny precision. Where a man thinks he's chatting, she's conducting a subtle interrogation. From the first message to the final goodbye, women steer the interaction using hidden tests, and most men fail them without even realizing. The compliance test, how fast do you drop your plans for her? The frame test, do you hold your ground or fold under pressure? The investment test, are you chasing harder than she is? Schopenhauer warned, women are instinctively strategic, with a natural talent for manipulation. It's not malice, it's survival. In a world where strength didn't guarantee protection, emotional finesse became the weapon of choice. Modern men walk straight into the trap. They mistake attention for genuine desire. But Schopenhauer knew the truth. Women are most attracted to men who don't need them. The moment she becomes your mission, she loses respect. That's why the nice guy finishes last. Why marriages fall apart after men give up their ambition. Why women are drawn to men who remain emotionally distant. It's not cruelty they seek, it's value. And the quickest way to destroy value? Needing her too much. Every exchange with a woman contains a quiet power dynamic, and most men lose before they even know they're in the game. She cries to escape blame. She withholds affection to condition you. She flirts with others to gauge your confidence. Schopenhauer called it the tyranny of the weak. Women use perceived helplessness to dominate men who seem stronger. A man who takes the bait becomes her puppet. A man who sees the strings becomes untouchable. But here's where everything shifts. Schopenhauer's most empowering message is this: before you can break free, you have to see the chains. Once you realize that female behavior isn't personal, it's biological, you stop reacting emotionally. You stop begging for affection and start commanding it with presence. The biggest deception isn't what women tell men, it's what men tell themselves. Schopenhauer's harshest revelation wasn't about women, it was about the cold mechanics of human nature. But in that truth, he offered something priceless: a path to liberation. This isn't about defeating women, it's about rising above the entire game. Most men make a fatal mistake. They believe happiness comes from winning a woman's approval. Schopenhauer saw through that illusion. He wrote, "The joy we draw from within ourselves is greater than anything the world can offer." Men who thrive don't chase women, they conquer themselves. They cultivate a mission so powerful, so fulfilling, that female attention becomes a byproduct, not a necessity. The most influential men in history, creators, warriors, thinkers, they weren't sidetracked by the pursuit. They were too focused on building legacies. Here are the 3 cornerstones of unshakable manhood. Financial independence. Money isn't just currency, it's control. The man who masters his wealth masters his destiny. Intellectual autonomy. Average men follow. Exceptional men think. They study, reflect, and cut through the noise. Physical discipline. Your body is the instrument of your will. Weakness here leaks into every other part of life. And here's where Schopenhauer's insight becomes armor. The best way to avoid misery is to stop expecting happiness. That's not pessimism, it's protection. It means taking control of your emotions instead of outsourcing them. When a man stops begging for love, for recognition, for fairness, he begins to receive them. Not because he asked louder, but because he's no longer one of the desperate. He becomes the one who's chased. The battle of the sexes isn't personal, it's primal theater. And the man who wakes up to this, he stops complaining and starts evolving. He doesn't resist female nature. He understands it. He builds a life so bold, so rich, that women must either elevate to match or be left behind. Schopenhauer's ultimate message? We sacrifice most of who we are just to blend in with others. The decision is yours. Keep running in circles, or embrace your real power. The red pill isn't about bitterness toward women. It's about falling in love with truth and letting it forge you into something untouchable. This is the start of your real life.